Welcome to the Top M&A Entrepreneurs. Today, my guest is Orrin Klopper from NetSurit. He's the CEO. It's a managed service provider. He's done 3 acquisitions in the 7-figure range to build a company worth $35 million in sales. And he's working on 2 right now. So welcome to the show, Orrin.
Thanks so much, John.
So, hey, I've got to get a check-in with you. You mentioned, this was a month ago, how are these 2 LOIs on these other companies? What's going on with those?
Yeah, good. So we got one signed, happy to say. And the other, we're right in the heart of the yay or nay, make it or break it. So there are meetings tomorrow and over the next couple of weeks. So, but it's looking good. But another one is, another 2 have actually popped up. So look, I mean, the one thing I've learned, John, and it's probably worth sharing is not to fall in love with opportunities and to make sure my pipeline is so full that just by a pure function of options and choice, my discernment and my ability to make good decisions is amplified. So I'm putting a lot of energy into filling up that pipeline.
Yeah, that is incredibly important. And I'm going to get to that very specific topic right now. But I want to kind of go back and talk about your origin story. And you're from South Africa. We have another guy on this planet that's worth a couple $100 billion from that same area.
Yes.
How did you, so you came to South Africa, start making acquisitions? Tell me that story. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, I actually want to do a gratitude post for... There was this amazing woman, her name's Erin Renard at Microsoft. I met her at a Microsoft partner conference in South Africa, and I said to her, you know what, we'd love to have a bigger voice as a Microsoft partner. And she said, well, I've got the exact thing for you. And long story short, she got us on one of the Microsoft Partner Advisory Councils. The first time I attended that, my first trip to the US was 2004. I went and bought it like a fresh suit and kind of made sure I was looking sharp and so forth. And so from 2004, I was traveling through the US 2-3 times a year. And fast forward to 2015, I was out with a friend one night in New York, and we managed to win them as a customer. So we serviced them totally remotely from South Africa. And we kind of took that into our strategic planning, saying, we've got a really significant customer in New York. We're servicing remotely. We've always had aspirations to grow globally. We tried 2 acquisitions in Australia. We tried 1 in the UK. All of them had fallen through. And we said, okay, fine, let's give this a crack. I decided I would move to New York to grow the business. And through that process, we found, I'm a member of Entrepreneurs Organization. I met with other EO members, and we found a really great business, great entrepreneur that it just made sense for us to buy their business. And that's how it started. That was back in 2016. Made every mistake.
What was your revenue already at that point before you bought them, or was this a brand first acquisition kind of thing?
No. We were, if I remember correctly, I was actually looking at it because the other day, I think we were $12 million in revenue, excluding the acquisition.
Okay.
And our trailing 12 months as of the end of January is 38.
Nice. Yeah. So what was kind of this MSP you bought in New York, this first one? Was it an on-market, off-market deal?
No, it was not on market. Both the owners had moved to Denver. One owner had been out of the business for a while. There was one owner who was in the business, and he was trying to navigate between New York and Denver. And so they were, I just kind of had some initial discussions. We seemed to click, and said to him, would you be open to considering this? And then we went through a process. So it wasn't totally on market. There was another bidder that they were in discussions with. If I'm not mistaken, at the time was All Covered. I don't know if you remember when All Covered were very active in the MSP market. They were buying a lot of businesses, but they were not in a full process.
Yeah. And how did you buy that kind of looking cap stack offer? Did you make to this?
Yeah, so fortunately we had the cash within the business to do the cash portion. So there was I was trying to remember the ratios, but there was a cash upfront portion of the total valuation. I think it was over 50, it was close to 50%. And then there was a significant earn-out portion. I must admit I'm a little bit dusty. That was 2016. I'd have to go and check those numbers to make sure. But there was a cash portion and there was an earn-out portion.
Yeah, and I take it they're happy with the earn-out?
Look, to be honest, we had a cash flow generation formula that the business had to generate a certain amount of cash, or it had to generate the cash, the equivalent of the earn-out. And we made every mistake we possibly could, John, in that deal, except go out of business. The business, the market had changed quite radically already. Whereas if you go back maybe 2010, 2011, 2012, to get new customers as an MSP was not that hard. It wasn't as much of a red ocean, but by 2016, 2017, it had already become unbelievably competitive. And their marketing and organic growth engine had stalled, and we were trying to fix it. And then we had loss of staff. So there were some inherent challenges that really kind of led to us not being able to pay the full earnout. But when I look today, because they rolled some equity, when I look today at what the value is of their equity and the rate at which it's growing, they're going to do unbelievably
well. More than it was.
Significantly.
Yeah. Well, what kind of did you have conversations with them? It's really curious because everybody wants to do these earnouts because the risk is on some kind of future activity. But what happens if you don't, right? Headwinds, macro environment, it becomes red ocean. What happens there? You're going to have to make a phone call.
Yeah, well, look, we have a love-hate relationship with earnouts because sometimes earnouts can drive the wrong behavior. So we did a deal in New Jersey in 2021 where these guys shot the lights out. So we've renegotiated the earnout into a note so that it can. So what we actually wanted to do, we wanted to do more integration, and the earnout was driving behavior to keep it separate because I wanted to protect the reporting of their numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that initial phase, an earnout is good just to see, is there something significant we missed? Is there some external force, or is there some significant change that is going to erode and degrade the value of what we've acquired? So we've got a love-hate relationship with earnouts. I think it's something that's good. It can, because you never know when there's a major change, like a sale of a business or a key leader leaves the operational executive function. Will clients get scared? Will clients look at moving on? So that's where an earnout can add value, but it can drive the wrong behavior too. So it's something we debate often. But if I look at the deals that we're doing now, these two, or the one that's in LOI and the other one we're looking to get into LOI, and the other two that we're negotiating, there's definitely an earnout portion. But even with the one that we have in LOI, I said to them openly, look, we've got a love-hate relationship with earnouts, and there's a fair chance a year down the line where we see integration and synergies that mean us acting more as one business, we might come back to you and say, let's cancel the earnout and restructure that.
All right. So that's kind of an option in your asset purchase agreement or LOI or some kind of understanding.
Yes.
And what are these kind of acquisitions you look for that meet your criteria? Revenue, profits?
Sure. Yeah. So kind of EBITDA range is $500,000 of EBITDA to $1.5 million. That's the range that we target and aim at. We're looking at organizations that are an MSP, is managed service provider, and predominantly focused on the Microsoft technology stack. That's where our skill set is. They're focused on the SMB market. Broadly, we define that as companies of between 25 to 1,000 users, computer technology users. We're also looking for organizations, John, that have some industry expertise or experience, because we believe that's part of the evolution of the industry, and it's a big part of our marketing, and we want to protect that. And then probably, outside of the numbers, John, one of the biggest things is there a fit? Can I break bread with these people? Have we got similar values? And what we look for during those initial discussions is, what are some of those critical conversations that are actually quite tough? How does the person respond? And that's where we kind of get to know each other better. So that really has been one of the biggest ones. And the one thing that happened recently in this opportunity, I'm so keen to get into LOI. This guy he's so impressive, man. He's small. It's not a big business. They're about $6 million in revenue. Let's say plus or minus 20 people. He sat down with his key management over a year and a half ago and said he wants to do this. He wants to find a growth partner for this next chapter. And even in the early phases of the discussions with him, he's brought some of his team in, and they're not equity holders. It's not like they're shareholders. So just from a leadership perspective and a culture perspective, that's very aligned with us, because that's how we operate. We're over 300 people. There's no ways I can make even 1/100th of the key decisions in the business. There are so many other important people. So we're like that. We're transparent and open. And I was just so impressed with this guy, because sometimes what happens, John, is you'll find the key CEO or shareholder doesn't want anybody else to know anything. And I can respect that. And I can almost argue in their favor to say, okay, I understand why you're doing that. But where we've seen deals go well is where there's more openness, which is quite an easy thing to gauge early on.
Is he, this guy, is he also open book transparent? Like, he shows the financials, here's what we need to do because here's where we're at?
With his team?
Yeah.
They just had a cracker year. He paid big bonuses. He showed them the numbers, showed them why. He's just, man.
Is that something to add to your criteria of like, hey, man, if we get given all the things where it meets our criteria, what we want to buy, the financials, and then we find this guy who's this openness, not only to his employees, but with the financials, that's the one we're willing to pay a little bit more on?
Well, it's a function of, we know that there's going to be a good fit. So we know that there's going to be value, because even if I look at our business, what we realized if you think about the concept of a growth mindset. So if you are going to sell your business to NetShirt or any organization for that matter, and you want to travel that journey further, to make the most of that opportunity, you need a growth mindset. And that is what's going to enable you to put any sort of fiefdom, ego type thinking aside and say, okay, fine, I'm on a bigger journey here. Where can I add value? What can I let go of? And what can I really be part of building this next sort of chapter? And so for us, it's about fit. And that is a very, very clear sign.
What's some of the other questions you ask him, aside from the openness and, he's telling a story to his employees about, this is what I want to do. Let me, before I ask that question, does he sound like a guy that wants to exit and go do something else? Or is he a guy that's just gotten tired of running it himself and could be a great general manager or VP of a large organization?
He could be a great general manager, VP of a larger organization. He has wrapped his mind around potentially exiting entirely. But in the context of our discussions, he's quite excited about the plans and some of the things we're wanting him to do. His kids are older. He's looking at and they're probably in the next few years, they'll be leaving home. So he's looking at a new sort of chapter in his life. But he's super savvy, super talented. Just a really great leader.
Why did you decide to focus on that kind of range of revenue and EBITDA? Is it because too many bigger guys focus on this, and this is uncrowded? Blue market? Blue ocean?
So it's kind of as we head up, even over 1 million, there's a lot of activity in this market. And look, it's a big market. I mean, you can say anyway, between 20 to 30,000 MSPs out there, depending on what demographics you use. So you could have a buy and build strategy in this market for 10 years, and there's still be a ton of MSPs out there. So, I mean, there are about 60 active PE firms in the market that have a MSP platform play.
Yeah.
So they're hunting hard. They're hunting hard for opportunities. And so as you start moving up, it becomes very competitive. The investment banks have convinced a lot of them you have to be in a full process. And we think a full process, John, drives the wrong behavior. What
are you referring to, full process?
So like going to do a teaser, do a sim, and then meet with 30 potential interested parties. And, so I think what we've seen with some of the organizations that we've engaged with that are in a full process, I think it loses. I think there's the two most important things in their legacy, in my mind, are their people and their clients. And I think when there's a full process, there's a hype around what the valuation should be. So I think there's some unrealistic things that set in there, and there's an overemphasis that gets placed on the valuation, and there's an underemphasis that gets placed on what's going to happen to my people and what's going to happen to my clients. And so I'm not saying a process isn't good for some organizations, or it's just in our minds, for people that are a better fit for us, it's where you deeply value what's going to happen with your people, and you deeply value what's going to happen to your clients, and you want a good deal.
No. I mean, that's the full process, is create an auction, is give the highest valuation and the biggest price for the exit.
That's it.
I don't really care. Oh, yeah, I do. But
yeah.
How do you say yes or no to a business real quick? It's off market deal, and it's like, no, I don't want that. It meets all it's right in the EBITDA. It's right in the niche. Then you have this conversation with the seller. It could be first 30 minutes, and it's yes or no. Let's go to the next one.
No, good question. So, what we become very good at is early on is getting a sense of valuation expectations. Because if I look last year, I felt like there was a click. We were enjoying each other, and we had lots and lots of meetings. Got down to putting down some numbers, and it was kind of like $600,000 business. EBITDA, one of 12 times EBITDA, and it's like I should have addressed that much earlier on. Oh
yeah.
And so that's one where right now we address that very, very quickly. Secondly, the one thing in our culture, which is quite unusual, John, is we have something called our Dreams program, which is, it's like if you go and search on Glassdoor, you'll see some negative reviews about our culture. Because I tell you why, it's not for everybody. Okay. So what we are saying is our personal lives and our work lives are inextricably linked. And we put forward the idea that you can actually lead a balanced life and do truly great work at the same time. And we balance that against a meritocracy as well. And what that is asking you to do is engage in the culture where you create a dream book, you share your goals and dreams, you get put in a dream group. And so there's a certain value system and openness that is required for that to resonate. And if I can see early on that this person thinks the exact opposite, look, work's work, personal life, we're not interested. If I see a disconnect on that right up front, then I know that's not going to be a fit for us. And that's why NetShirt, even from when we employ people in the final meeting before, we actually, when we make the offer, we say to them, look, and we address the dreams program all the way through the interview process. If this is not going to resonate and you're skeptical about it in any way, don't join. We try to do the same in the acquisitive growth process to say to them, if you're going to travel this journey with us, this is an unusual thing. It's not that common. Understand it, absorb it. And if you do believe there's a fit there, then that's going to make for a great journey. So if I see that early on, we move, we'll move away from it. What we see sometimes, and I move away very quickly, John, is high revenue concentration around one specific customer. So we had a great opportunity in I forget the city, and I just loved the entrepreneur. We had great discussions, and there was about 60% of the revenue was one customer. They lost half of it, okay, and they kind of went off with another opportunity. Another acquisition opportunity didn't work. They came back. We started talking again. We know, I could see clearly writing was on the wall that they were going to lose the other half of that. And so for us, if we can see we've got to fix something, we think very, very carefully. We right now we walk away from all of those opportunities.
Was their contract up, or did they lose it because of not meeting expectations?
They got acquired. They got acquired, and then there was a piece taken in-house, which we've seen happen again and again.
Yeah. So you don't like those deals, like
yeah, we don't. We
yeah.
We don't like those deals.
Yeah. So let's go back to your deal flow on how you're doing that to find.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess this kind of goes back to what's your long-term goal to get to some. Are you looking for an exit, or are you going to stay with it till like, Munger and Buffett till they get room temperature?
I just pictured myself at that age still doing this. Look,
have you seen the latest picture of them? I mean, they're 95 and they're like.
Those guys are fucking legends, man. They really are.
And they still can answer any question. You throw it.
I love them.
Munger's glasses are about an inch thick.
No. I mean, let me just tell you an age story. I mean, that business we bought in New Jersey, there are guys in that team, mid-60s, early 70s, okay? They're outperforming many parts of our business. So I'm the last guy to ever judge anybody in seniority.
No ageism here, man.
We introduced a new product, okay? And they outsold every single part of the business. So, I mean, I believe if you love what you do and you're talented and you're good, age doesn't matter. But right. Look, I absolutely love what I do, and I would love to do this for as long as I can add value, and as long as I'm able to lead and create the value that I believe I can. What are our plans? Look, we're totally privately held, and that's what we want to do for now, based on the strategy we have. We want to get to $10 million EBITDA in the next 24 months. That's our goal. That's kind of a threshold we want to achieve, and we believe we can protect being totally privately held, getting to that point. Every deal we execute on, John, our access to finance goes up. Yeah. Our ability to raise money.
What is happening there? Because I'm looking at a chart right now. Under MSPs, under 500,000 could be 4 to 5x, 4 to 6 maybe. 500,000 to a million, it's 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
2 million or more, you could be anywhere from 9 to 14x.
Yeah. No, that's it. So our trailing 12 months adjusted EBITDA is 4.2 million. And if I just factor in the stuff, and if I look run rate going forward, we're close to 5. Okay. And if we add the acquisition we got in LONI, that puts us on 5.6. So I think, let me put it to you this way. I'm the most focused on this I've ever been. If we continue with the momentum we have right now, And I'll talk a little bit about deal flow and why I think that's part of it. I think we could end up closing enough deals before December of this year to have a run rate view of 10.
Mm. Yeah. I'm really curious about your culture and your style of management and why people are attracted to you and want to work with you. I mean, they're happy to be a W-2 employee and say, I want to work with Orrin. I love what he's doing. I love how I'm treated. Who is that? And what do you do?
Yeah, so I think, the one thing that we realized as the leadership team, as we've gone through this fast growth, and this has become embedded in our culture over the last 10 years, I'd say, is that the only way we can grow is if we decentralize thinking, okay, and decentralize decision making. And that naturally is congruent with what an entrepreneur enjoys. So I remember the early days of the business, John, like 2000, 2001, I walked past a boardroom. I'd be like, what's going on here? You're having a meeting and I'm not in the meeting. What the hell? I was like a megalomaniac. But now, the more meetings I'm not in, the more things I'm not involved in, the better. And I'm not saying that in a way that I'm neglecting. It's just I've got stuff I want to focus on. So I think naturally for entrepreneurs and leaders, when they're joining our culture, they can clearly see that we don't want to micromanage anything, okay? And if you're performing, you just do your thing. Like that business in New Jersey is an example. These guys just
are other people making these acquisitions and deal flow? The reason I'm asked that is you familiar with Mark Leonard over at Constellation Software?
I've heard of him.
Yeah. He is all about decentralization. His GMs are making acquisitions without even him knowing it because he's put the culture into that business where they have confidence and, they make mistakes, they own up.
No, that's it. So take an example, hiring. You say you're hiring someone and Orrin, why don't you interview them? I want to give you an opinion. I'll say, fine, no problem. Interview them. Say, John, I wouldn't hire this person, but you own that decision. Okay. You must hire whoever you want because if you get it right, you must take that recognition. You get it wrong, you got to deal with it. So that's very, very much our thinking. And what we do is financials are transparent. We have a Stratco meeting every single month. Not only do we invite the key leaders, we invite anybody that wants to attend can come, see how we're performing against our financials and our strategic dashboard. We use the 4 disciplines of execution from Coffey on how we run that. Every single person has a balanced scorecard. So you might say that's micro because it's measured monthly. But you know what we found? A players love to know how they're being measured. They want to know.
Absolutely. There is something innate in that. They have to measure against others and themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they love it. So, no, we decentralize the information and the knowledge, and we try to decentralize as much of the decision making as we possibly can.
Yeah. Well, are you mostly involved in the acquisitions now? You're still in control of that, or do you have people?
No, so I'm probably, if you look at my time, I'm guessing about 60% is focused on the M&A, and about 10 to 15, let's say 10% organic growth, and probably 15 to 20% on culture, and then the rest is kind of depending on the month and depending on what's going on. I deal with some of our funding relationships, which fits under the acquisitive growth.
Yeah. Now you said when you're going up in the EBITDA, the more you're getting attracted to from capital. Are you just picking up the phone, or are you actually going out and making presentations? Hey, we seek this for our next acquisition.
No, look. I mean, if I look back to early 2001, when we were raising money. And for a deal we had, we ended up speaking to a business that funded Mike Tyson's comeback fight. I don't know if they told me that to scare me or whether, but like the interest rates were, John, like I can't even remember the interest rates. I think people go, it's like a loan shark business basically.
Yeah.
We were desperate at that time. And anyway, we didn't take the money from them, but now we have, every time we've executed, it's just gotten easier and easier. We've also, our own organic growth is just the numbers have escalated. We've made tough decisions, cut costs where we had to, and we're very good at communicating and being transparent. So, yeah, we have two key funding relationships right now that pretty much meet our acquisitive growth requirements.
Debt, or is that are they expecting some kind of equity exit?
No. We're doing primarily debt right now. Some of it's a bit on the expensive side because we're not giving up equity. But when you look at the numbers in our model and what we're doing, it is, I mean, the IRRs and the MOICs are, I only learned about MOIC over the last 6 months. So
by the way, it's a multiple on invested capital. So
that's right.
Coming in, they're looking for, I give you $1 now and I expect $2 in 5 years. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So we're running those numbers on ourselves. I mean, we keep our SIM updated every single month, even though we're not in process and we're actually not in a process to find equity investors, but we just, we appointed a guy called Adam Coffey as an advisory board member. He wrote the book.
Who doesn't know Adam Coffey? He's one of my first interviews in Top M&A Entrepreneurs.
He's such a legend, eh? He's such a legend.
He's got two books out there, like the best book for private equity in the world. Yeah.
I've learned so much from him, and you know what you might not see because he comes with a lot of confidence and bravado online, and that guy is so humble, man. I worked with him for the recruitment of our VP of corporate development. Literally within 15 minutes, that guy replies to emails. He did all the interviews.
He's running a billion-dollar corporation, and he responds. And he responds on LinkedIn real fast too.
No, he's just epitomizes servant leadership, and I've learned a lot from him. He's given us a lot of guidance with our strategy, and we bounce deals off him. So he's guiding us. He's guiding us all the way through the process. So yeah, that's been just we did an offsite with him and our leadership team upstate in November last year. Came in and just we spent a couple of days with him. But yeah, we've got he's one advisory board member. We have another advisory board member who built a really sizable business like ours in the UK, also giving us great guidance. So yeah, that external experience and advice is just, man,
sometimes it's
worth paying for, John.
Yeah. Somebody that's been there before and especially built something twice as big, like, oh, just do this, this, and this. And you're like, you sit back and go, I've been banging my head against the wall trying to figure that one out.
No, that's it. And the other thing, and it maybe relates back to, I think, why we're being well received by potential businesses that we're looking to buy. We're not arrogant. We don't have all the answers. Every single M&A opportunity I've engaged in, I've learned something from them. Every single one. Even if we didn't do it, I learned something from them. And I got out of my way to share what we're doing in the most transparent way possible so that hopefully they learn something from it too. So like take this opportunity. I'm keen to get into LOI. I've learned a ton from him. I really have. We had our marketing teams get together and share how we're generating leads. They shared how they're generating leads. So we're not arrogant. We don't have all the answers. So when we appoint an advisor like Adam or whoever, or like Tim Wallace, we're like a sponge, man. We're just living.
Oh, I got to tell you, I recall that conversation with Adam. That was last year, and he just said, when we buy an HVAC company and they have a great best practice, we just take that practice and cross-pollinate and all the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's world-class, eh? He's world-class.
So what are you doing for deal flow? You said you have abundant deal flow, and I know, look, doing podcasts helps. What else are you doing?
So I've yet to get a deal from podcast. So maybe this sounds different.
It takes time. Yeah.
No, sure. No, so look, obviously being in the industry for a long time, That is definitely so. Industry relationships. There's some stuff in our pipeline that has just come from that. Then we have one buy-side advisory relationship that we've had since 2017. So of the 3 deals we did in 2021, 2 came through them. Okay, that's another one. We have investment banks approaching us all the time, say, with potential deals, and we have one particular investment bank that is they gave us the deal that is in LOI now, and then we have 2 other deals that we're really excited about. I mean, look, in our case, it's such a big market. So yeah, those are the ways. So if I were to bucket it into either investment banks or buy-side advisory, one bucket, our own relationships, and then our own outreach efforts. So we're doing some marketing, different tactics there, and then we're attending some key conferences. So look, if we continue with this momentum that we're on right now, I'm actually optimistic we're going to be able to hit our target before the end of this financial year, and we will fill it up enough that it will force us to make really good decisions. And I think to date we've made really good decisions. We're not falling in love with unrealistic opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, I just got an idea for you. One of the guys I interviewed did a roll-up of 30 Midas franchises, and he does a podcast. It's Beers with Brian, and then he goes to the Midas trade shows and has his podcast at his booth.
Oh, that's cool.
It has created an abundance of deal flow for him because everybody knows, like, when I'm ready, I'm going to Brian.
That's really cool, though. So it's his own podcast?
His own podcast, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. I really like that.
That's an idea, yeah.
Thanks, John. I like that idea.
Well, that's fantastic, man. I love what you're doing here.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. And I wish you the best of luck on this, too, Orrin.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really enjoyed the conversation and, appreciate that idea.
Yeah. Good deal, man. Thanks for being on the Top M&A Entrepreneurs podcast.
Awesome.
Hold on one
Great
second.
stuff, John.
Yeah.
I hope this video has inspired you. If you need help buying your first $1 million business, make sure to visit me at dealflowsystem.net. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe down below. Comment on it, share it, tell everyone about it. And thanks for watching.